So I don't know who's going to come in today, but we're trying a little bit of a different time only because I just don't have time to do. I have to spend time with my husband on the weekends. Let me know if this is doable. Okay, so I think we're live. I think everything's working today. So I think the plan today, I want to try, if anybody does arrive, I want to try a little bit of like an experiment to see what people know in music and the notes. So I'm just gonna run through my scales for now. Oh, I have a pen there. That's good to know. We're just doing a couple of musical things. And everybody wanted me to be here probably at 12, but I was out. I need to also participate in family time, which is why yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if too many people will be here today, but I'll have a video out, so if anybody needs to watch the rerun, we'll have a rerun. So I'm going to do the scales. I'm going to just talk through them. I think it's music theory. So I'm going to just, if anybody does show up, this is piano. I think music, oh, I have other people wanting me to get on the lives on TikTok. I'll do that later. So just to remind people, so this is my little go-to. This is good to copy and look at. I'm talking through music today, a little bit of music theory, just the introduction. I have a video specifically on this as well. I know nobody's not here at the moment, that's okay. So just to go through the subject of finding the middle C on the keyboard, if you have a keyboard, 3 black notes, 2 black notes, 3 black notes, and it goes throughout. And in total, the keyboard has an 88 keys. And then the C, you see the 2 black notes over there? You guys can copy and save this, but the 2 black notes over there below, the first black note of the 2 black notes is the middle C. Well, depends, as long as you're placing your body in front of the keyboard. Or the other solution is if you do not have a keyboard, you use your iPad. I've spoken about this in another video as well. I'll probably discuss this later. But you go to GarageBand. Okay, say you want to, and I have a whole tutorial on how to find all of this stuff. So if you don't have a full-on keyboard and you want to learn keyboard or guitar or anything else, this is a great example. It's not loud, probably put it through a speaker if you want it. Okay, so that's C major. There is a formal way of fingering, okay? But this is it's just an introduction. C major, okay? This is useful because you don't have to worry about tuning your keyboard. The keyboard's already tuned on your iPad. Which is D major. This is D major. That's what it looks like on a piece of paper when you look at the scales. I have a whole scale chart, right? That's D major. This is what it sounds like on your, if you do it on here. So I have a whole tutorial on this. So D major on your iPad. Wait. Oops. I always recommend starting with your scales, even before you learn how to play a song, because in order to learn to play a song, you sort of need to understand what the keyboard sounds like. So experimenting with the keyboard first is what I always recommend doing, for instance. I mean, I think the same applies for all instruments. Let me show you what it looks like on, I have so many notes. I mean, I was doing this to teach. I was formally teaching music, guys. This is what I do. So that's the scale chart that I wrote by hand, because at one point I didn't have any of the scales written down. Funny enough, none of the teachers that I had in any of the music schools that I went to ever gave me the scale charts. And I just thought, why aren't you giving me the scale charts? They never explained the thing. And what had happened is I was moving around to too many countries as a child, growing up in different countries. I lived in 5 different countries. The teachers always just assumed that I knew the scales, which was not the case, right? So the first one we just did was C major. You can always save these. C major. Okay, that's what it looks like. And then this is for beginners, hey? And then that's D major. So we just did C major and D major. So that with just one hand from these notes over here and those notes. I didn't talk about the ones in the left hand. Okay, so if you need to start like a process, this is a great place to begin. It's just an introduction today. If you have any questions, you know, I'm sort of here. I have a whole bunch of notes. For instance, this shows you what the beats are on, they call it beats. Yeah, I mean, these are how the rhythms work on the notes. Like drum beats and keyboard beats and guitar beats are generally the same. Drum is great because drums understand how to interpret these. If you're playing like in a band, they kind of relate to this. So this note, this is called a whole note, okay? Let me show you on a real piece of music here. Let's do this. Let's look at this piece. This is so much stuff going on here. This is why you need to first learn all of these things first, like what the key signature is, what the treble clef and bass clef mean, what the notes are, what the time signature is. They're all these things. Whole notes, eighth notes. So before you learn all this stuff, you got to break down how everything works, which is what I'm here for. And that is what I studied, or I taught. That's what I was teaching. I was teaching how to break down every little section until my students were able to play Moonlight Sonata. I don't know, they played a whole bunch of things. They played Misty. I had students that were singing like My Funny Valentine. It's amazing. Once you break it down, you begin to understand the process. That's part of it, right? Yeah. So let me know if you guys have any particular questions I can ask, or you can ask me, or questions. So I'm going to put this up. You could probably, what I usually do sometimes is if you need to take a photograph of like the live, like this moment, you could probably use that as like your sample, right? And this is your sample. So this is how your hands work. Left hand is bass clef. Right hand is called treble clef. Okay, and those are the two signatures, treble clef and bass clef. And then that just gives you a general idea of what this is. Okay, so this is just showing you, I haven't written it on yet, but I have these notes from before. I was eventually going to put this into a book that you could probably buy on Amazon. I have done books before on Amazon. All I really need to do is probably just scan these in and make it like a formal book. I just haven't done it yet because I've had so many things on my mind. But these notes, all my students said that these are fantastic. They worked. And in fact, Guitar Center, naughty, naughty, Guitar Center actually used my notes and created a whole collection of scale charts. So now all their books throughout the whole of Guitar Centers throughout the United States have scale charts that they based off of the notes that I actually had written down for my purpose, because that's what I was doing before the books came out at Guitar Center. We were kind of assessing what was important in the classroom and what we were going to use for like how to teach and all that stuff. So even though I never got credit for it, I had a part in developing the scales and discussing how this was going to be incorporated throughout all the instruments. So this became an important factor. So I started using these notes before Guitar Center actually had their books out. That's how long those have been going on for. So I worked at Guitar Center for 3.5 years, if that helps. Yeah, what else are we going to do? So let's talk about the other instruments. So if you don't know me, my name is Cinta. I usually am on at around 12 o'clock on Saturdays, but today, like, my husband wanted to spend time, so we spent time out. And then during the weekdays at around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is, I'm in the United States. I'm not overseas. I'm living in the States right now. I've lived overseas. I usually start around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so I'm here regularly. I try my best to stay regular on YouTube as much as possible. I'm here to generally help people with a variety of questions. I also do art. I paint. I do music production. So I kind of delegate certain days for different things because I don't want, like, people don't want to get too bored. I don't want to just keep talking about the same thing over and over again. I find that all skills become valuable in different elements. Like, for instance, if you do graphic design, I talk about, thumbnails. I do all my stuff. I do graphic design. I do photography. I studied the arts. Music was just integrated into what I've done. I've done a painting like session on here, just showing like how to draw. I also use this iPad to show people how to draw because Photoshop is on here now as well as your phone. So I do multiple things. I don't like sticking with one concept because I know that each person has different skills in different like areas or genres. So if you don't know me, this is a painting you can go through oops, I'm moving this. But if you want to, I use this as my sample now because all my paintings are gone, right? My paintings disappeared. So I use this as the sample now. So if you want to see how I got to the stage, oops, how I got to the stage and painted and did a painting, I go through like the layers. This is not quite finished yet. It is a car. I like to do car paintings. There is a frame to it, but I do like to use this as my sample. Just to talk about like the art side, not just music, right? So I delegate it to a variety of different things. Say for instance, you play another instrument. We had another class. I call it a class. I suppose this is sort of like a class, right? I had a discussion on how to switch instruments. So if you don't have a guitar yet, like somebody else was asking, so what am I going to do about a guitar? I said, no worries. Oh, actually, my bad. What we're going to do is, you see what I just did there? This is on your iPad. You can do the same thing on your phone as well. So you now have a portable instruments, drum kits, right? You can use these to practice on because when you play drums, you're doing like rhythms. The iPad is useful because it's touch sensitive, and this becomes like a useful trend. Guitar inputs, amps, a microphone. I don't know how good the mic is. Honestly, I haven't tried that yet. I should try. Violin. And you can pull these out and play them like accordingly. Everybody likes, let's do, and then drum rhythms. You know, and if you're going to compose a piece, you would start with like beats first. So I walk through it. I don't necessarily play guitar per se, so I would be like the beginner on the guitar, and you can, but it's in tune, so you really don't have to, like, you know, and then it gives you the chords, and then I have guitar books, right? So that becomes, you could probably, let me, can you strum it? So there are different ways, chords, notes. So there's chords and notes on here. And you can hold the, you can see like it actually reacts very much like a guitar. Okay. So it's just an introduction. What was I doing? I was doing a practice session yesterday or the other day. I'll just do. These are my warm-ups. Yeah, and then it repeats over and over again. I have done classical. There are a few things. It's been a while since I've done it. I also play by ear. So if people need to learn how, like, say for instance, you want to learn a piece, but there's no music to it. The best way to learn that kind of stuff is to literally just listen. If you know your notes, obviously you need to know your notes on the instrument that you're playing. You can't just do it with just guessing. You have to sort of know a little bit about. Not necessarily, you could, not necessarily completely reading, but you have to figure out if you hear a noise on or a sound on, you have to kind of pick out where the note is. Like I figured out a whole bunch of songs doing that on my own. You know, I don't have the music for this. And then there are a whole bunch. I mean, I had this piece. So yeah, there are a whole bunch of songs, but I really, you know, if you're going to be learning music, and I know a lot of people are very interested in learning how to play and understanding how it works, because it's actually very good for your mind. If you're the type of person that likes, or maybe your concentration is not fantastic, music becomes a very good focal point to help kind of steer you in the right direction. I've noticed that, and when I teach younger kids, I find that that becomes a very useful tool for them, and then it keeps them busy, so they're not like completely left in like nowhere land. You know, it's not just art, it's now just utilizing your mind, and it helps with their education and stuff too. So it's a really useful, music in general is just super fantastic. It's just good to know. Jamie. Hello, oh Zelly, that's right. How are you? I said Zelly. How are you, Zelly? Yes. Is there anything you'd like to learn today? And not just say my name. I'm a mattered, so I'm like a teacher. I'm like, can you say please? Can you say my name? I'd like to see the word please at the front. I'm all about education. Good. I'm glad you're good. Yes. Manners matter in my space. So yeah. I know the Totoro. That's okay. There we go. Thank you. I love it. I just my mom's side of the family, they had principals in our school. My mom's sister had a school. She runs or she used to run a kindergarten. So I've always been part of the education system in a different way. You're okay. Yeah. No, yeah. So it's okay. Just next time, remember the next time when you ask me, please say my name. Please say my name at the front, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay. How can I help you today, ma'am? What is the plan? Do you have anything in mind? Would you like me to teach you anything? Do you want to play? I think the other day we were doing tic-tac-toe. I wouldn't want to do something else besides. I think that's useful. It is kind of weird because when I was on, I do like the lives on TikTok now, right? And the lives on TikTok have games you can play with people. And unless, do you guys know if you can play games on, that would be so cool if I could figure it out. Games on the lives, I don't know if you can do that here. I know you can play games with people like on the live. So if you do like a live with somebody, you could probably play the same game, like video game or computer game or whatever. My name is Cinta. So you see it on my channel. It says compose music with Cinta Margot. That's my name. Cinta Margot is my name. Yeah, yeah. I know the microphone wasn't working the other day. I think my bunny rabbit got a hold of one of the cables. I had to get a new one. Luckily, I had a new one. Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting moment. I have to say, I was traumatized. I was like, oh no, it's not working. What's the problem? It was working. Sure enough, it was on my side, right? So, yeah. Do you play an instrument, Sally? Are you into any instruments? Is that your thing, or are you sort of like a little bit like we were talking about notes? This is what I was talking about earlier, right? And how to read music. And how your hands fit on the keyboard and what this means. All the introductions and how to draw. I didn't even talk about this, but this helps with understanding how the lines and spaces work and what the keyboard. I was mainly focused on the keyboard. I did vocals. Vocals and keyboard go hand in hand. So that's what I did for Guitar Center and another school, Buck to Rock and stuff. Yeah. keeps going. I'm sitting in the wrong position, so I'm not really playing it properly. So, how can I help you today? Are you interested in what would you like to, or do you have any questions on music? Do you know what I've been doing on my channel? Are you interested in the arts? Do you want to do stuff on AI? Have you, oh, I don't know how old you are. May I ask how old you are? Can I ask how old you are? I don't know if I completely asked. It's okay if you're younger. It's just, I just need to know because AI, like digital AI art, you would probably need to be over 18 to do on the iPad or the phone. But if you are a little bit younger, you could use something like this to do doodles and sketches on. I think Frisco, maybe your parents could, if you are a little bit younger, you could probably get Frisco, Adobe Frisco. And Adobe Frisco could be like I'm doing, like when I'm doing my art class with my student. He's drawing it by hand, and then I'm giving him exercises like this. These are beginners. This is really beginners. How to draw a porcupine, or how to draw some, like 3 different animals together. You know, I'm doing a whole bunch of things. Or if you want to do fashion drawings, I do fashion drawings. So I honestly think it depends on how detailed. So this is really how I draw with that stuff. You know, I always keep these. So if you are a little bit younger, this Adobe Frisco becomes useful. Or if you are a little bit older, you could just do like AI stuff and mold them together, which is what I've done. And I do photography, so I mold photography as well to various things. Yeah, I'm keeping it simple today. It's not a busy day. But I want to come in and you know, be here for a few moments just to kind of bring up some stuff. Let's see. I need to pull out my classical songs. Let's see. I have some music, Japanese music. I think at one point one of my students was learning a piece. I haven't done it recently though, to be honest. Yeah, there are like lots of things. Reading sheet music is not, it just doesn't happen overnight. And honestly, I need to do more of this stuff. I haven't practiced as much with my reading as often as I should, to be honest with you. It's just once you get busy, it becomes a little bit crazy, but you need to always incorporate it. Always incorporate it into your life in some way or another, right? Fine. Something my other student was doing. Yeah, so there are plenty of songs. I have a whole bunch of songs and sheet music. So if you want to get more intense into, like, I have things that I do, you know, I have stuff that I do. I don't talk about individual songs and how to break them down, but I could definitely help on that level because this is the kind of stuff that I did, right? Yeah. I think it starts, yeah. And there's like a whole bunch of things. So I play various things. Honestly, it was classical how I started. I always started with classical, and it's funny because I didn't recommend to younger students to play classical, but they always lean towards learning the Moonlight Sonata or Fairy Leaf. I'm rusty. And so yeah, so there it's I'm very rusty. It's mind you, I haven't played for a long time. Classical music, that is. I played other things, but classical was the introduction into learning music. I think when you're starting off, classical is a very, very good example of it's complicated, but it's straightforward. And I think that's why everybody probably starts with the classical and then branches out eventually, unless you're destined to be a concerto concert pianist, but it doesn't always happen, you know. So yeah. Are you guys here just to hear me play piano? Can you hear me? I was playing my piece the other day. Yeah, so there's just a couple of things. I'm just playing around here. And then I did, what was the other one? Yeah, I'm gonna pull out my classical book later. Maybe start using that here so I can show you guys some basics on classical. I'm keeping it real short today, folks. I don't have the music in front of me, but there are some very simple classical pieces that one can learn. Okay, I'm gonna keep it simple, short and sweet today. But if anybody's interested, this is just a. If anybody's interested in classical music or learning the very basics of playing introductory pieces, always start with the scales, right? Scales are always important because it loosens up your hand. Ugh. And then the fingering changes accordingly, so that's a whole nother story. But literally just an introduction. If you guys are interested, I might still consider doing the book and then having that available for people to use. There are books out there, but I find that having kind of like a formulated collection of things together in one like book, just introduction things, it generally helps. So that's where I am. Okay, quick introduction. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you guys later. Bye. Have a good one.